Thank you, Chair. England has 85% of the world's chalk streams. My Northwest Norfolk constituency is lucky enough to have a number, including the Nar and the Burn and the Babingley. Last June, the Rivers Trust and others published its report, Chalk Streams in Crisis. So the question to Sir James is, do you agree that chalk streams are in crisis in Norfolk and elsewhere across the country?
Well, thank you. I mean, the first thing I'll say is that I have a personal stake in this as well as a professional one. I live in the Chilterns. When I do my walk, I walk beside one of the most beautiful chalk streams in the country. I'm conscious that nearly 80% of all the chalk streams in the world are in this country, and I and the Environment Agency are passionately determined that we're going to protect and enhance them. I think I'll tell you briefly what we're doing, but we also, as we think about protecting and enhancing chalk streams, which we must, we also just have to remember that right now, the chalk streams that exist, particularly in the southeast, and the aquifers that feed them, are also providing essential drinking water for hundreds of thousands of people across the southeast. And there are some companies like Cambridge Water which are 100% dependent on chalk streams, and there are some businesses and some farmers who are in the same place. So I think the way forward is to balance the needs of the environment and the chalk streams and the people to make sure that we have regard to both. And the way to do that is to make sure that we don't take unsustainable amounts of water out of chalk streams and their aquifers. That's why we're engaged in a major programme of abstraction reform, which is reforming the licences that businesses and farmers and others need to take water out of the ground, including reforming many of the abstraction licences in relation to chalk streams. And to date, we have made changes to 99 abstraction licenses in relation to chalk streams, which will reduce significantly the amount of water that can be or has been taken out of them. Example, we've been working with Affinity Water on the Mimram in their area, and with them we've agreed that they will stop taking water out of at least one chalk stream and significantly reduce their abstraction from another. We also need, as well as thinking about water quantity, to make sure we get the water quality right. So chalk streams are also threatened because of agricultural runoff, including, I imagine, in your constituency. And so with Natural England, we're working with farmers to give them advice about how to farm in ways that don't dump lots of phosphates and nitrates in runoff off the land into the streams. And finally, we're also doing work to restore many chalk streams that have been damaged. So the Victorians engineered a lot of chalk streams into straight drains. One example in Mr. Mahindra's constituency is the Bulbourne, lovely chalk stream, where we've worked with local volunteers to rewild it, to put back the curves, to clear up the water quality and improve the habitat. And that's had a really big effect, not just on the water quality, but it's become a really fantastic amenity for the people who are living nearby. So there's a whole bunch of things that we can do, but the long-term answer is going to be to find alternative water supplies and to reduce demand.
Right. Okay, Mr. Wild. James.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I mean, it's concerning to me that this report came out talking about a crisis 5 years after the WWF report, where one of my constituents referred to the state of our chalk streams as the equivalent of our burning rainforests. Is there the urgency here to deal with this problem, and what are the specific targets that the Environment Agency is working to restore these iconic rivers, which provide such valuable habitats and ecosystems?
Well, I think there is urgency, and as you'll know, if you've met any of the people who work for the Environment Agency, they are passionately committed to doing what they can for those communities and those fantastic natural resources. We have established a specific programme. It's called the Revitalising Chalk Streams programme, which is designed to work with, not just with the Environment Agency, but with local partners on chalk streams across the whole country. So we've improved over 70 kilometres of chalk stream habitat. We have removed weirs. We have, as I was saying, put many of them back to their pre-Victorian state. But that work is not done, and there remains a clear and present danger to chalk streams, and we'll continue to do that work as long as it's necessary.
And thank you. The final one from me. What's the funding that's available? Previously, it has been effective in catchment and other investments. What's the funding looking like over the next 3-4 years?
So there are various funding streams that resource our work. We get funded partly by the charges that water companies and others who abstract water pay us to regulate what they do. That we get some granting aid from the government for some of our habitat restoration work. And we work with Natural England on a programme called Catchment Sensitive Farming, which is also funded by the government to provide that advice and guidance to farmers. But none of us is as good as all of us, and the way to solve this issue with chalk streams is not just for the Environment Agency and the government to be focused on it, which we are, but to ensure that other community groups, other volunteers, other environmental NGOs are also part of that family, and that's very much our philosophy.
Okay, would it be possible to have a note for the committee on those different funding streams and how much is available and the forward look?
Of course.